Hello, thank you for coming. Today I'll be talking about teen suicide and the benefits of communication. On April 23rd, 2014, my 14-year-old daughter tried to take her life. It was the worst day of my life. I know everyone has a teen, or at least knows a teen. Now, just take a moment and think what you would do in this type of situation and how it will affect the rest of your life. Have you said, no, not my kid? I thought the same thing. Today, I'll just be speaking about the causes that leads to teen suicide, as well as ways we can prevent more families from going through this type of situation. I'll show how the statistics on how teen suicide is on the rise and that it can be changed through communication. Right now, every 17 minutes, a teen suicide succeeds in taking their own life. There are reasons for teen suicide. It could be anything from distress, irritability, they just feel agitation, they have a feel of hopelessness or worthlessness that is often accompanied by depression. I found out that later, after my daughter had tried to commit suicide, that she was diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder. I always thought it was just something in the military, but anybody can have it. Another reason was emotional, physical, or sexual abuse. She was in an emotional, abusive, and physical household with her father, and when we got away, we moved down here, she wound up being bullied. She didn't communicate this to me. Anytime I tried to ask her anything that was going on, she would stonewall me, she'd get defensive, she would go hide, she'd just avoid the whole situation. Now, according to Gottman, he identified 4 specific warning signs for separation or relational dissolution. You have criticism, contempt, defensiveness, and stonewalling. He refers to them as the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, to indicate that they signal distress. Even though these were meant for relationships and why they would dissolve, it can still be used as a relationship with your child. Because if they're stonewalling you, they're being defensive, there is something wrong. Now, with statistics, for people ages 10 to 14, there has been an alarming 128% increase in suicide since 1980, making it the 3rd leading cause of death for that age group. In New Mexico, suicide is ranked as the 2nd leading cause of death for youth ages 15 through 24, and each day in the U.S. there are more than 5,400 suicide attempts by young people in grades 7 through 12. Now, according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, suicide, like I said, is the 3rd leading cause for death between 15 to 24 years old. And that is after accidents and homicides. It's also thought that at least 25 attempts are made for every completed teen suicide. Now, to prevent it, suicidal threats in the form of direct or indirect statements, look for that behavior, suicide notes and plans, prior suicidal behavior, making final arrangements, preoccupation with death. You have changes in behavior, appearance, thoughts, and or feelings. Now, like I said, communication is the key to stop teen suicide, but also look for those nonverbal, just the way they look, the way they start maybe dressing differently, the way they're acting, their facial expressions. My daughter didn't come talk to me, but I could see something was wrong because her whole demeanor had changed. And like I said, just looking for those nonverbal. Now, I thought maybe it was just a teen thing and she was just trying to be alone. She didn't want to deal with the mom, stuff like that. And I talked to my fiance about it, and he said, no, it's just a teen thing, don't worry about it. I wish I would have followed my intuition. Now, a key to preventing teen suicide is open dialogue. Talk to them. Get them to talk to you. See what's going on. If for some reason they don't feel comfortable talking to you, get help. Get a psychiatrist. Anything. Because care providers and or family members of patients, illness improves the quality to any patient. And self-harm behaviors. Community resources to improve overall outcome for any patient. Now, according to Judy Brownell, an expert on listening, she developed the Hurrier model to describe stages of effective listening. Now, the 6 stages from whose first letters the model is named are hearing, understanding, remembering, interpreting, evaluating, and responding. Just listen to them. Listen to what's bothering them. And it may not seem like a big deal at the time, but if they're willing to open up, just let them know that you're there for them. You respond to them. Evaluate what they're saying to you. Just think about it and try to understand where they're coming from. I mean, we were all teenagers once. We know what we went through. Just think of it that way. Let's see. Now, there are very common methods of teen suicide. You have more males actually may kill themselves through guns. There's the drug and alcohol overdose. My daughter did take pills and tried to overdose. There's hanging, carbon monoxide, suffocation, jumping, electric shock, or drowning. And the reason for this is it could be academic pressure. They just feel that they are failing themselves, or failing their parents. It could be they're just so stressed out about trying to get good grades that it just overwhelms them. You have alcohol abuse, loss of a valued relationship, like their best friend gets upset with them, they feel hopeless, they feel like the whole world has turned against them. Bullying, that's what happened to my daughter. She had 5 boys bullying her every day at school. Pushing, shoving, making her feel worthless, teasing her. You have to tell your children that you love them. They mean something to you. Communicate with them. Let them know that without them, your life won't be anything. Just let them know how important they are to you. Low self-esteem due to bullying. My daughter has very low self-esteem. It took her 2 years of counseling, trying to get her self-esteem, to let her know that she's not an ugly person, she's a very beautiful girl. That no matter what people say, just kind of try to let it roll off your back. Loneliness. She was always alone. Even though we're a house full of people, there's 5 of us, it was like she was all alone. She always stayed in a room by herself. She didn't come out to have fun. She'd come home, close the door, lock herself in her room. Try to make sure that they're not always alone. Go in there, knock on that door, open that door. Even if they don't want you in there, communicate with them. Just ask them, how's your day? How are you today? Now, there's always going to be warning signs of teen suicide. For example, substance abuse, neglect of personal appearance. Like I said, nonverbal. Look for these signs. There's also changes in eating, sleeping habits, loss of interest in usual activities, running away, their drastic behavior changes. Experts do say communication is the key in preventing teen suicide. Communication between an adult and a troubled teen is paramount for preventing such attempts, said Kathleen Kern, Director of Child and Adolescent Services at the Lorain County Board of Mental Health. There are a lot of websites. You can, if a teen feels like they just can't talk to you, have them call the 1-800-273-TALK. Let them talk out. It might make them feel a little bit more comfortable that they're not facing that person face to face, but the person's listening to them on the other line. There's also the Suicide Prevention Lifeline.org. You can go to that website and look up information. There's always ways to prevent teen suicide. You can also, if you'd like more information, go to YouTube.com and find out more information about teen suicide. Now, teen suicide, like I said, can be prevented if you just make sure that you are communicating with your child. Do not let your life be changed because you didn't think it wouldn't happen to you. Seek help if you feel that your child just can't communicate with you. And thank you for your time.